Hello everyone, welcome to CloudMesh. Today we will learn basics of CIDR notation. So CIDR is classless interdomain routing. We specify a set of continuous IP address range using this particular notation. Here we have IP address and number of network bits. So here this IP address consists of 4 octets. This is octet 1, octet 2 and so on. Starting IP of this particular CIDR range will be 10.0.0.0. Network bits will be 16 and host bit will be 32 minus 16, which is 16. So network bits and host bits are the ones specified implicitly. Okay, the network bits are specified explicitly inside a range and host bits are specified implicitly inside a range. Host bits are nothing but number of IP address you will get using this particular CIDR range. So here why we are doing this 32 minus 16, because each IP address consists of 32 bits. So here like 8, 8, 8 and 8 cross 4 32. So this whole IP address consists of 32 bits. And here if these are the number of network bits specified, so to calculate host bits we minus the number of network bits with the 32. So basically the basic formula is network bits plus host bits equal to an IP address. So here we have 4 cross 8 octets. Each octet can have decimal value from 0 to 255, because in an octet you can have value up to 256. Each digits in this each digit in this particular IP address can take 256 values starting from the digit mentioned. So here with /16 we have specified a mask to be of 16 bits. So what exactly is a mask? Mask is like a set of bits which will not change. So here like 16 we have specified the network bits to be 16, and so by specifying network bits to be 16 we have also specified the mask to be 16. So here for 16 the mask will become 255.255.0.0, which means the number 255, where the number 255 is written, those particular bits cannot be changed, and where the 0 is written within the mask, these bits can be changed to allot your IP addresses. So in our example CIDR we have 10.0.0.0/16. So the mask for 16 we can specify the last 2 octet bits for the IP addresses. So as a general formula with notation of /a, you can have 2 to the power 32 minus a IP addresses allocated in a particular CIDR. So in this case we have specified a as 16. So here 2 to the power 32 minus 16, 2 to the power 16, we will have 65,536 IP addresses available where we can allot our resources. So let's write down these 65,000 addresses. So our mask notation is CIDR notation is this one. So our first starting IP address will be 10.0.0.0 and so on. It will go down by changing this particular decimal digit by incrementing it to 1. So 10.0.0.0.1, 2, and so on up to 255. Basically, after these particular 256 bits are exhausted, this one will be incremented by value 1. So by 1, we will again start with 10.0.1.0 and going forward so on up to 255. This particular process will repeat up to this bit becoming 255 and again going and ending on 10.0.255.255. Basically, each particular octet can have value from 0 to 255, means 256 IP addresses. So here you can allot this column to subnet 1, like in your, if AWS you are specifying a VPC CIDR, for a CIDR of this particular value, you can specify a subnet of 256 IPs among those 65,000 IPs to be consist in subnet 1 with this particular notation. This slash 24 specified network bits of 24 and 32 minus 8, 32 minus 24 host bits and 32 minus 8 network bits. Same goes for this particular subnet 2. Here the notation will be like this, with starting IP address having 1 here. You can write down notation for each of the subnets, and it is not necessary that you will choose 256 IP addresses. You can choose any IP address with a multiple of 2, like 256, 512, 1024 IP addresses, and so on. So let's do one problem. Suppose you have a VPC with CIDR block of 192.168.0.0/16. You need to create 4 subnets with the following requirements. Subnet 1 should have 16,384 IP addresses. Subnet 2 should have 2048 IP addresses. Subnet 3 should have 512 IP addresses. Subnet 4 should have 128 IP addresses. So here our starting IP is 192.168.0.0. Our network bits are 60. So our host bits will be 32 minus 16. Host IP addresses we can allot is 2 to the power 32 minus 16, which is 2 to the power 16, 65,536. So here actually you need to remember this particular formula to calculate host IP addresses. Here if you have slash a given, 2 to the power 32 minus a will be the number of host IP addresses. So similarly here 65,000 IP addresses. So in subnet 1 we need to have 16,384 IP addresses, which is 2 to the power 14. So 14 bits in CIDR notation you have to write network bits. So our host bits will be 18. So available host bits will be 18. So for subnet 1 you can write in CIDR notation this way: starting IP address slash 18. For subnet 2 we first have to allot IPs 16,384 to subnet 1. Only then we can proceed towards allotting IPs to subnet 2. So here actually you can allot any of the IP addresses in 65,536, like 192.168.1 and so on, 192.168.64. so on. But here we are trying to allot continuous subnets so that you can have optimal use of your VPC CIDR network space. So here we have allotted 16,384 IPs to this subnet. So we first have to calculate the last IP in this particular subnet. So here the last IP will be this one. So we have to calculate and allot first 16,384 IP to subnet 1. So to count 16,384 IPs, we count them in sets of 256 because this particular IP range is moving forward with steps of 256. Like here in this table, you can see these many 256 addresses. Let's bit at this position to change to 1. So similarly forwards, here also we are counting how many 256 sets are in 16,384 because only after that the this particular bit get incremented by 1. So here 1024 has 4 256, 2048 has 4 cross 2, 8 256, 16,384 will be having 16 into 4, 64 256. So the CIDR of subnet 2 starting IP address will become 192.168.64.0 and network bits will have to allot is 21 because for 2048 IPs in subnet 2 we will have 200 2 to the power 11 host addresses. So here for 21 network bits we have to subtract 11. Okay, wait, 2 to the power 11 host IP addresses, we will get 32 minus 11. Okay, yeah, 21 network bits here. These are actually the host bits. So actually if you minus network bits from 32, you will get host bits. If you minus host bits from 32, you will get network bits. So here we have host bits, so we have subtracted host bits from 32, so we are getting 21 network bits. We are calculating these network bits to write in our CIDR notation because in CIDR notation we only write network bits. So here this 21 will be written here and starting IP of subnet 2 will be .64.0. Why .64.0? Because the first part of the CIDR block we have already allotted 16,384 IPs. So after 16,384th IP we can start next subnet and that starting number will be this one. So also I have explained you why the network bits will be 21. So maybe I can explain again. Because subnet 2 we need to allot 2048 addresses, so 2048 you can write 2 to the power 11, so 2 to the power 11 means 21 network bits. So now you can try on your own for the other two. Maybe you can pause the video and try. So the answer will be this. You can verify if you have calculated the right answer. So let's move forward. The Internet Assigned Number Authority has reserved some IPv4 ranges as private. They are called RFC 1918 spaces. RFC 1918 includes 3 blocks of IP addresses 10.0.0, 10.255.2, 10.255.255.255 and these two values. So these particular IP addresses you can use to specify your private address space. So these are you can say universal convention handled by IANA. For each and every company you will encounter, for each and every organization you will encounter, they are bound to use these values for their particular private IP addresses. So mostly what organizations do, like here this one will be having largest IP addresses, this one will have second largest, and this one will have smallest number of IP addresses. So organizations use this one for dev, this one for staging, and this larger one for production, because this particular IP will give you an easy identification by following that convention. And in Amazon Web Services, IPv4 CIDR range is allowed between /16 to /28. Like maybe if you have seen my VPC video, there while creating VPC, Amazon was asking us to select a CIDR range between /16 to /28. This is done by the AWS so that AWS can optimize use of private IP addresses and minimize use of unused IP addresses. So that's all for CIDR blocks. Thank you.